Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. To celebrate our 100th episode, we're doing movie shorts. And there's no movie news at the end of the program. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, Ryan Preston, and the
old guys here.
So the first movie short we're doing is mine, and it's titled C, 299,792 kilometers a second, which, if I remember correctly, is the speed of light.
If you're in England or some weird country.
Is that what
right.
the hell you said?
1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, Ryan.
And this,
Did I Did I watch the right one?
I don't know.
I don't remember a title like that.
Just to say, and then the spirit of openness, I want to let everybody know I did put it into the Kickstarter campaign. That's how this originally started. The reason why I put into this is this movie news. This used no CGI, all traditional effects, used camera tricks and models, and I love the feel of this short.
Well, I thought it was a bit cheesy, to be honest.
Well,
but
that was part
that was the idea, wasn't it?
I think
it was supposed to be cheesy. But don't forget, you had some big name people in this short too.
And I really have a problem with the gay music. That was really gay music.
What?
So for all our gay friends out there, it
was happy music.
I actually
Speaking
really loved
faggots getting upset.
I actually really loved the fake documentary guy. That was my favorite part. How they started with that and then kicked into it.
I thought that was kind of cool, but it's like I kind of, you told me about this Kickstarter program quite a while ago, and I thought it would be a little bit more kick back to the 80s and 90s, if you know what I mean, and more of something that would be.
They didn't get enough money to do CGI, so they had to build.
They didn't want enough money to do CGI.
They actually didn't want CGI. They wanted to prove that you could do a decent, good short without using all the modern technology. And I think they were successful.
I think they were too in that. I think some of the tricks and the effects that they used still hold up, but I think that they probably should have tried to market it more to a new audience instead of just going back to what it felt like to me was the late 80s and 90s kind of feel of the sci-fi that they were doing at the time.
Well, it was the Carl Sagan dude that kind of dated it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
The story, it seemed to be all about sort of the message of the thing to me. It was the idea of, people have used, good things for bad. Let's use this bad thing for good, and that seemed,
Yeah.
And this did win a bunch of awards. I don't have the list
with me. It did. I did definitely notice, the whole tactile nature of the whole thing, and a couple of things. Now that I'm looking back on it, I'm surprised to hear you say that it was no CGI. That was some good use of old school tricks, and I've been silent about this in the past that I love the old stuff that's going by the wayside. Nobody builds miniatures anymore and has Godzilla walk on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for those people to appreciate that kind of thing, it's awesome.
Yeah, I really appreciated that part. I just thought that I would have liked to have seen them try to use it and push the boundaries of it instead of just kind of going back and reminiscing.
I think they may. Yeah, I think they may have pushed the boundaries of what they were able to do with the money they had.
I'm sure with the money.
Yeah, and the art of set building and the creation of these things is kind of becoming a lost art. So at least they still had some great sets for what they were doing.
The sets they did a lot of work into. So seriously,
the rear projection too for all of that.
Quentin Tarantino recently put out an article or had an article. I wish I could cite the magazine, but it was basically saying that the death of film, actual film, celluloid film, is not being produced, hardly ever anymore. I mean, he's one of the last people that actually uses it.
Right.
And his point basically was, everybody all of a sudden is a filmmaker. Anybody with an iPhone can make something that you would see on TV. If all things are digital, all things sort of become equal on this playing field. And he said it's television with an audience, which is exactly what it is. You used to go to films to have that feel of a film, and now you have it as television, but with an audience. And television in public is what he said.
Yeah.
I still think for this one in particular, I think the benefit though is you had a lot of the actual hard effects. I mean, you had those welder guns that the way they unplugged and plugged. You had the doors that closed. You had the rear projection on the screen where it showed what was happening in the ship.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I thought the weapons that they had, they put a lot of work into those, and I'm sure they actually made those.
Oh yeah,
or, everything was made for this short.
Yeah.
Or
what exactly was the budget on this?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about.
I don't actually remember it. Unfortunately, I forgot to find the actual link to the original page, but it was.
You definitely vouch for your like $10 or $20. It was at least that much.
I can put $10 or $20. I know they did a second round of Kickstarter campaign because what they wanted to do was they wanted to actually have better models made. They found a guy who had been doing models for a long time to really. To really get better looking models.
Well, they did good, and the old
for what they had,
and the old computer style graphics were kind of fun.
Yeah, they were kind of like I said, they were reminiscent to me. That's what it kind of made me feel like I was going kind of back in time and watching a new sci-fi flick from back then. And I thought the way they did the model on the past what I can't think of the planet right now that they were going over Jupiter thing.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool for, just to see that done again. But I didn't think it was any clearer than what they would do CGI these days. So in comparison, that would have been something that was lackluster, but it was still pretty cool to see.
Yeah,
I thought so. And this project was done by Derek Van Gorder and Otto Stockmeyer, and it had $37,317 pledged in Kickstarter.
Holy cow, that's it?
So I'm assuming a lot of the money went towards the actual ship model.
Yeah, I'm sure especially the set that they were in, the model that they were using.
Yeah, a couple of those sets look like it probably would have cost some cash.
Because the actual ship model was amazing looking. Because if you actually had LED, they had lighting.
That's what I was saying. Is that was really cool to see that and the way they made
They did a good job for nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to really give them props for that.
Yeah.
And this was really titled something that was done with retro film techniques, which I actually think they succeeded very well. Because it definitely has the feel of something that was 70s.
Yeah.
Maybe early 80s.
It's great. It's like looking at the end result is the same exact thing. Like there's two paths, and the end result is the same thing no matter what you do, but you still choose the hard one. You still go down the path that of more resistance and more art and more craft to it, and I don't know, all for the sake of feeling better about it, I guess, at the end, and to perpetuate the art. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I mean, there's still an art that goes into CG.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of art that goes into that. Let's not downplay that. But you're right in the sense that it takes more to do it the old-fashioned way.
What it was is it used to be magic. It used to be movie magic. They called it that because nobody knew how the F they did it.
Right.
You're looking at the coolest shit in the world, and you had no idea it was a guy in a costume walking on small buildings. It wasn't big.
I think this movie was
I
more...
hate bringing up Godzilla as an example. I just watched it recently, so I'm sorry.
I think this movie was more...
Nowadays, everyone knows how it's done. If you watch CGI something, you're like, oh, okay, well, some guy did that on a computer. You don't have that wonderment like oh, shit. That's a trick being done before my eyes, and I don't know what's happening.
Right.
I think this was more of an exercise if they could do it without relying on the crutch, which is CGI.
Yeah.
Being, we could show wires here, we could do this, we could digitally remove it. I think this was more of how clean can we make this without having to rely on technology to remove our mistakes.
Yeah.
I think they did a really good job.
I do too. I also kind of agree with Ryan in the fact that they do use CGI as a major crutch. And I mean, I like the old day with Jackie Chan. I do my own stunts thing, and there's a couple people that are still doing it. Tony Jaa does his own stunts, and there's another little girl who's doing her own stunts, and Chocolate and Raging Phoenix. Those people still do all their own stunts, and that's something I would like to see now too. Is where some of these action heroes are actually trying to do their own stunts. I just watched a movie recently, and there was like. Probably a couple hundred people in their stunts thing.
So,
It's like, that's insane.
Yeah.
What?
I know the new Spider-Man guy. I'm sorry, I don't know the actor's name.
He's a British actor.
Yeah,
but
I don't know
anyway,
his name
he
off the
did
top of
some
my
of
head.
the stunts that weren't all CGI. He did some stuff.
So what do you give this short?
Honestly, I give this one a 3. It was a little bit reminiscent for me, but I still think it was really cool to go back and see that. I would have liked to have said that this one kind of blew me away, but it really didn't. But I still think the fact that they did build all those things are really cool, and so that gives it, a little bit more than.
Yeah,
I agree with you on that.
So Ryan?
I give it a 3. I don't give it a 4 because it definitely reached beyond its budget and suffered a couple of ways for it. But that being said, I love the message sort of on and off screen is what it represents for future filmmakers and also for their point that they made is, was pretty good too. So
Rob?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3 as well, and a pat on the back. I really think for the budget and as well as it actually turned out, they did one heck of a job. I really think they did. Is it a blockbuster short? Probably not. So I think my 3 is with a caveat that I think they did a great job in set building and bringing back a little retro style of filmmaking. So
I'm going to give this a 4 because I actually wanted more of it. I loved. For me, I kind of forgot that there was that there was traditional or CGI because sometimes it's so obvious. I actually wanted more of the story. I mean, for me, that was the sign of always been a good short. I give it a 4 to 5, not only because of the traditional effects, just how much I wanted more.
Okay,
good, yeah.
The next one is James's short. So, what'd you pick?
Picked Mortal Kombat Rebirth, and the reason why I actually picked this one is because one of the writers on this is going to be writing Men in Black 4, and this is pretty much his only writing credential is this little short. And I was always curious to actually watch it, so I figured I'd save it and watch it for this.
This short has some well-known actors.
Yeah, Jerry Ryan,
Michael Jamal White. So this,
Spawn, by the way, kids out there.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said he was Spawn.
Yeah.
Oh.
And most recently, Black Dynamite. That guy rules.
So yeah, it's for. Shh. Let it go. For that, I just wanted to see what he was capable of. I wasn't really watching it for the actors or anything, but I gotta say, if you don't know what Mortal Kombat is, you'll be lost in this.
Yes.
What I read, I kind of vaguely looked a couple of things up on my phone as I was driving earlier. If this was like a showcase, kind of like, hey, if you give me this movie, this is what it would look like, kind of thing. Is that correct?
Yeah.
See, I got the more of the vibe of this could be like a small backdoor pilot. That's
this is more of a trailer that they were put together.
Yeah, that's what I sort of read. It was some guy who was like, hey, look, give me this movie and this is what it would look like and film this kind of.
So that's exactly what this is. This was pretty much a pitch to the studio saying, give me this film, I want to do it.
It was a proof of concept.
This was directed by Kevin, and I'm seriously going to butcher this last name, Tencheron.
Well, doesn't matter.
Tanchir.
Last thing I read on it was they since pulled him away from the project. I guess they're not doing it, or it's still in that limbo stage of Hollywood.
It's in limbo. It's not in production or production hell, as far as I know.
Development hell, yeah.
Yeah, development hell would be a better thing. But the one I was looking up was where did he go? Just totally missed the. Anyway, the writer pretty much only has that, so I just wanted to see what he was capable of. This one kind of left me wanting to see more, actually. I actually liked it. I thought some of the acting was cheesy, especially the cop, the way the cop portrayed himself, Michael Jamal. So that was a little bit let down for me, but that's kind of where I was. I thought that some things were overacted. I thought the way that they portrayed Scorpion was really cool.
I don't
know, Brian.
I mean, there was
sorry, I was tossing it to a game fan. because he's a gamer fan on this one.
Based on the video game that I was looking forward to, I was like, oh, he's introducing these characters. I hope he goes through a dozen of them. That'd be awesome. At the end of it made me want to see the movie, but I like the one, so I don't know what that says about my taste.
I love the tie into Reptile, though. There's like, wow, it's a random one to pull out. I was expecting, Smoke or Raiden, so that's actually kind of happy.
Yeah, it was kind of cool that they did some of the not so famous characters to throw at Scorpion right away. Yeah. And I thought that was really cool.
So to put it in a perspective,
a non-fan,
well, no, a number of decades older at this point. Looks like Ryan's frozen.
Ryan, you there?
Good old Hangouts does it again. He'll
keep going.
I'm assuming he'll call back. You know what? Again, as a fan of action type films or whatever it may be, I enjoyed the short. I mean, it was the right amount of time. I'm not completely ignorant of the material, so that probably helped a little bit.
Yeah.
That really helps actually understanding the story
because they don't really go into what's going on really. No.
Yeah, they just jump right into it, and if I didn't have some idea, I could see being real lost, but still, it was cool. I mean, it had some great graphics.
I thought the action sequence between Johnny Cage and I can't think of the reptile guy. No, it wasn't the reptiles. The other guy. I can't think of his name right now, but that was pretty well put together for such a short.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
choreographed and everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was. Yeah. No. It was really good.
That was one I really.
Their creature developments are. I thought they were pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he's back. He's back. He's back. So you just missed my whole tirade, so.
Okay. Yeah, I heard the beginning part about action movies and then the end just now.
Yeah, well, no. Basically, wrap up is I thought it was kind of cool. I didn't want. I'm not a big game player, so but I understand Mortal Kombat and some of it, so I liked it.
I love how they included Jax, and he's kind of a character a lot of people don't know. I think they included Jax. They had I think a partner Sonya.
Yeah, Sonya Blade. Well, Sonya Blade was played by Jerry Ryan, and she just kind of walked in.
Yeah. So I love
that was almost the whole budget right there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I love all the tie-ins to the game. They did a really good job, including Sub-Zero, and he's the one I wanted to actually see.
Yeah, I like that she kind of threw it in there, like you didn't actually kill Sub-Zero, because that was kind of part of the game thing. Was those two were really after each other. So
oops, we weren't supposed to know that.
He was my favorite character in the game, so it was
Well, I thought it was kind of funny that
he's still alive.
They made him Scorpion, who's like the most easiest character for any player to get a hold of and do some damage with. They kind of made him, kind of the main theme of the movie. I thought that was kind of cool, and the fact that he just kind of drops the chains towards the middle of the end of the interview.
You're not holding me. I can do what I want.
Yeah, I turned myself in.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the overacting parts. It's like, you're not really holding me.
It was very melodramatic.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah, but I thought the cop,
but so
the anger type of thing was overacted, right?
It's a game.
So when is Jax get his cyborg arms?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Ryan?
Shoot, man. I will continue talking about this thing. It definitely reeked of a comic book movie. Even if I knew nothing of Mortal Kombat, I'd be like, is this a comic book or a video game?
Yeah.
Just the way that it was sort of being presented, it was like introducing characters. So I can't say much for the story because I don't think it was made to tell a story. I think it was made as sort of a showcase of like, hey, this is how dark we can take it. But I don't know, there's only so dark you can go with this before it just gets weird and twisted and you're watching like a Hostile movie.
Yeah. You can rip off heads and eat them too.
Towards the original one, so I'm not sure. I mean, it'd be cool, but it still would be cool with people like me and James who are fans of the video game, which is not, John Q. Public.
Yeah. As Rob raises his hand. So anyway, but all in all, I don't really think this one was. It made me want more, but not enough to go really over the top. It's kind of a mediocre one where it leaves you wanting more, so it just kind of ends up being a 3. I didn't think it. Like I said, there was a lot of overacting, if they actually made this into a film, I expect the acting to be cheesy.
I think
to be honest,
I think this would be a better suited to a television show the way they have it than a movie, because I think in a television show they could do more with less. I don't think this would be successful.
But I wouldn't
as a
really
movie.
watch it because you want the finality of a movie.
Right.
You want to see the characters die.
How about like an HBO short? You know, do like a
Way too
cup.
expensive.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
look,
I just think this would be a failure.
they could
as a
just
movie,
keep
personally.
making character after character. I mean, the way this thing's done, you could just
So it's like Scorpion versus this person and
Yeah.
this person as it goes down the
it
line.
keeps going
Episode
and
by
going,
episode.
And,
Right. So what do you give this? What do you give this one, Ryan?
I give it a 2, just because. Look, how do I? Okay, you know how chicks will watch like stuff like Save the Last Dance, regardless of whether it's a good movie or not, just because they want to see the dancing. That's the only reason I would see this movie. I'd want to see Scorpion fight Sub-Zero, and
Get
that
over
would-
here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So Rob,
okay. Probably give it a 2. I'd give it a 3 just for Jerry Ryan, but for the rest of the for the rest of the movie, I'm going to say 2. I mean, it didn't. You're right. I think it showed how dark we can get, and we can get even darker if we want
See,
to.
I would
and-
say not dark, but gritty. That's what the filming of this made me feel.
Okay.
Dahmer.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Exactly. So I'm going to stick with a 2.
I give this a 3, partially because I'm actually a big fan of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Game Boy.
The other part is I liked what they did with it. You know, it was a twist with Mortal Kombat that I've never seen before. Generally, they fit to the story exactly. This one is a little bit off from center, so that's why I liked it.
All right.
So the next one is Ryan. You're up.
Well, shoot, I picked just a little student film called Snap. I think it was 2005. And if I was any good at this after 100 episodes, I'd have the name pulled up and some stats about this.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on. You're a professional now.
On YouTube and watched it there and kind of enjoyed it. And it
What's he telling us?
sort of showcased kind of what I like about short films. Simple idea, all about the execution. You know what I mean? For a lot of the time, sometimes it's a poignant story like John had with a message, but other times it's just like, hey, look what I can do with a camera.
In real life, this guy would have gotten beat 6 ways from Sunday.
Yeah, but I don't know. After looking at those photographs, I might be like, all right, it was kind of worth the hustle.
I don't know about that.
I actually thought you just hit the random button on short films.
Right.
That's what I thought you did.
It was very random.
The shuffle.
I went through a couple of them
More like
and
ding, 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 ding.
sea of short films out there. I just kind of started randomly kind of clicking on one.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you could spend days and days and days looking for the
you can.
short.
You
And,
can.
And this I've seen student films before, and once you said that, the light kind of clicked on because I didn't realize this was a student film, and that made all the difference because now you've got work in progress, and
Yeah.
let's see how far I can go.
Artist in progress.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's
Right.
somebody beginning in their career kind of thing, and yeah.
Yeah.
The thing-
Made a difference.
Oh, sorry, I was
No,
going
it's
to
okay.
cut you off and say the thing that really I actually thought they did a pretty good job on was the editing when transitioning between the different chaser characters. Where they go around a corner, it would be like a black guy. Go around
Yeah.
a corner, it'd be
No,
another
the
guy.
shirts always change
Mexican
color.
guy in the shirt.
Yeah.
The editing on that was actually really well
Yeah.
done.
That was pretty
I
good.
thought that was pretty cool.
Clever.
And then the
you
scene
almost
where
got me in the
yeah.
beginning, though. The very first subtitle was just about.
Yeah, when I first saw the subtitle, I thought Rob was going
That's
to
it, man.
have an
Remember my
aneurysm.
rule? It was about 2 seconds, man. I went, oh no, he didn't.
Wait until we do the subtitle genre.
But I thought the scene where he did the jump and the 360 while
Yeah.
taking the picture, the way they slowed that down and the way they played that was really well done for a short.
Yeah.
That was probably all their budget right there. Just that scene.
Well, they rented a high-end camera for that for a day. It's
Yeah.
all they could afford is the insurance on that camera.
I'll be honest.
Exactly. But it was something simple story. Didn't have to rely on actors. You know what I mean? You practically paid like 6 stunt guys to run around a couple of corners and through some jump ropes and stuff like that. So it focused on their strengths, didn't get bogged down by having shitty
girls.
Yeah,
I know.
I was thinking too how in shape these guys got to be.
Yeah.
I mean, here's this guy with his family and his little kids, and this younger guy grabs a gun and runs, and this guy's running and they're running and they're running. I'm going, man, is everybody in those world runners? I mean,
you can
triathlon.
Yeah,
you can tell this wasn't the guy wasn't an American, because normally like, yeah, I'm not chasing it, foreign country, no thank you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I actually really wanted that camera back then. I swear to God, I'd have ran 400 feet. If I hadn't caught the bastard by then, I'd have just put my hands on my knees and started breathing heavily.
I would have just probably whipped my knife out and stuck it in their back.
$800.
Now in a foreign country, you wouldn't have a knife.
Oh, that's true. Stupid Brits.
Yeah.
So, when was this made? I don't remember.
2005.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say 2005.
So, what do you give this, Ryan? I'm quite curious.
I give it a 3 on a simple principle. It like I said, it didn't have to rely on any actors or lofty concepts. It was simple, and they did exactly what they wanted. Kind of showed off a little bit, and
a bunch of sight gags.
Quickly.
So, James?
I kind of look at this one as like what Ryan's kind of saying. It's like a skit. It's not really like a film or anything. It's just kind of them having fun. And on that, I mean, it goes and accomplishes all it really wants to do. So that one's just 3. There's really nothing I can really judge it on other than that.
So, Rob?
I'm not saying go grab a bowl of popcorn and sit down with all your loved ones and curl up with this thing.
Absolutely not.
That would be a small bowl of popcorn, by the way, to
6
finish.
minutes on YouTube.
I think the idea that he came up with was pretty clever. This whole thought, writing out the whole script, and the way it was a pretty clever idea. It was kind of a fun play on this. So between that and some of the tricks they did, and being a student film, I'll give it a 3 as well.
Wow, I thought you were going to be the Russian judge on that one, because I give it a 3 out of 5 too.
I almost was.
I almost was too.
Yeah.
But
knowing that it's a student film, to me, it was actually made the difference for me, because I don't know if I would have knowingly watched this as a short, because it's not really my particular type of movie, but knowing this is a student film, I thought it was really well done. I like the sight gags.
I wonder if we can find the guy to put it together and get him to call in and. No, really. I mean,
he hasn't really done much after this.
I didn't think you would.
I thought, say, hey, look, we reviewed your short, and it looks like we all kind of gave a pretty decent score, and why don't you tell us about it?
Pretty, average.
Yeah.
Maybe he's writing Snap 2, Electric Boogaloo. So,
okay.
Snap 2, I kill you.
The next one is The Old Guy, and this one's a little different from what we did last time. This is a documentary-style short, and you're up.
Yeah, it's called Disarmed, and it's about the fact that our country is heading in a direction that's opposite of my belief and my understanding of the Constitution, and that's the Second Amendment.
For Americans only, by the way.
Yeah, because I don't care
illegal
about
aliens.
I don't care about anybody
Well,
else.
American style as a country. This is fit for England.
I thought it was kind of interesting that it was done in both a short movie and a documentary, both put together. I thought the beginnings and ends were done very well as far as a movie type of thing. The documentary, it was pointed. The guy that did it itself, I thought was a little too deadpan in his presentation. It was just okay, but it had a message that I think they were aiming at people, in their 20s and 30s, and I thought that was cool, because it's not always us old guys that you guys have to step up and fight the fight.
Yeah.
And so I think it got the message across, and it was just another way of doing it. So that's why I wanted to show it. It happens to be one of the things that in my concealed weapons courses that I teach, depending on time, I actually have people watch. No, I think it's it's just something that I thought was cool, and that's why I thought you guys might like it too.
Can I go? I would say the first thing that really bugged me was kind of the wannabe V for Vendetta type of thing. I was expecting Natalie Portman or something. And then the weird siren effects, that was kind of lame. The one thing that really bothered me was this guy was just doing like this to the camera, not really horrible screen presence. I actually liked all the facts and the other things backed it up. Didn't check any of it, but I liked that presentation of it. The different sources. I thought this was pretty well done for, a homemade style documentary type of thing.
Well, I have done the research, and yeah, the facts do match up for the time that this film came out.
Right.
I actually did go and do all the fact checking, not because I saw this documentary, but because before I saw the documentary a couple years ago, I actually did my own fact checking and saw what the FBI stats were on deaths and the CDCs and what actually were done. And all the facts that he presented seemed about right on from what I found.
And has continued to present. I think he went as far as 2009. The new the new stats are out and they're holding the same.
Yeah.
So the stats were right, and unfortunately, it's a little bit of apropos to what happened yesterday with this nut job in Santa Barbara, but that's a different story. We won't get into that now.
So, Brian, what did you think?
Well, shit. We get into the Second Amendment and whatnot all day. I'll try to summarize my opinions. First of all, let me preface by saying I'm young, and my opinions on this might not be fully formed. You know what I mean?
Young being almost 30.
I'm probably the most liberal out of the four of us, just by my proximity to Los Angeles and
liberals
the rhetoric, as the right wingers would say. That being said, never in my life was I ever brought up to fear firearms. I was always brought up to respect them intensely, but as like a recreational thing. And I've never really looked at them as anything but a recreational thing. You know what I mean? Obviously, they're used in a theater of war, but we're not talking about that. We're just talking about, your average gun owner. You three represent to me your average gun owners. All three of you I would trust any day with any firearm, because I know you. And
brave man.
So, I mean, I agree that he got a little heavy-handed with, might have overplayed his hand a little bit as far as the deadpan and the incredible serious nature that he was really putting forth. I agree that it's a serious issue. I put it neck and neck with the First Amendment, which I vehemently support, and the right to address grievances to the government. I mean, is incredibly important. But I do just agree, in as much as that you start taking that away. I mean, that's where it all starts.
You take that away, you have nothing else.
So, what do you think about, far as the way it was presented, the style?
I guess a bit heavy-handed. I totally agree with you with the bookends of V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
I totally got that vibe.
But they did it on purpose.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
And they were really kind of going for the worst case scenario kind of thing.
Yeah.
I will definitely say, from a liberal point of view, that revolutions can happen without violence and things like that. Obviously, there's been countries recently that have, by social media have liberated themselves from shitty governments and whatnot. So it doesn't all have to be, let's stand and fight. The South will rise again kind of mentality. But don't take my goddamn guns away.
So
yeah,
I thought the most poignant part of the entire documentary was when they were at talking to I forget which guy it was, but he was basically the gun range guy. That's what it looked like.
Right.
And he's sitting there and he's talking to the interviewer and he goes, the biggest point is that I'm wearing my gun right now and it has not killed anybody.
Right.
Yeah, he was a news editor or something like that.
I don't remember exactly who he was, but he was basically at a gun range is what it looked like, was where he was. And he just basically said, I'm wearing a gun and it has not killed anybody.
That's right.
It hasn't done anything. So that's the biggest point is, everybody's crying gun, does this. And I really had to check myself when Dianne Feinstein showed up on there, because I am very passionate that she is an idiot.
Or Piers Morgan.
So, and Piers Morgan, but
God,
Dianne Feinstein has been doing this longer than he has, and she needs to get off her little throne, and I'll shut up after that. But anyways, because I keep going. But
Yes,
yeah, her
no
Mr. and
hours,
Mrs. America
hours,
thing just grated me. So that part of the film really gets the passion going. So, that's really what it comes down to. And I can't look at this film, or this documentary, I should say documentary, to be pointed, and I can't grade it on the short scale. I can't do it because there wasn't enough of the little girl running around and doing her little war. There wasn't enough of it for me to grade it on that scale.
I do think you could grade it on the scale of just overall the presentation, what you thought about it, just over the feel of it. I think you can grade it on that way.
Well, like I said, the facts to me all matched up with the research that I had done a couple years ago on this gun issue, and those things all matched up. Even when I looked at because I even looked at the crime rate of Chicago and DC. I even included DC because DC has very strict gun laws too. For those of you who don't see that, or it wasn't included in the documentary as well. But the crime rate in those areas did very interesting things if you look at it. So on the facts all held up. The guy, he had absolutely no idea where the heck that camera was or which camera was on.
Horrible screen presence.
Yeah, I think that was done on purpose, and I don't know why, but I wasn't sure who was directing it.
After the sixth time, I figured it was done on purpose.
It was done on purpose, and it was done strangely, but...
If you could give it a rating, what would it be? Or
me?
Yeah.
Well, okay, I use it as a tool in my classroom, okay? And so... if I'm going to give it anything, I'm going to give it on information. And it's on information, it's a 5. But on acting and carry out for the spokesperson, it's a 2. And
so give it a 4 out of 5.
So, I'm going to give it a 3. I'll stay in the middle.
Ryan?
I go with the same kind of scale that Rob has, although it'd be a 2 and a 4.
Right.
But yeah, I'll split the difference.
There you go. I'll give you that.
It was terribly presented, though. I mean, it looked like the fact that you said you use it for a class because it kind of looks like something that would be used for a class.
Right.
You know what I mean? That kind of presentation, like I'm watching an orientation video from Applebee's.
Yeah.
James?
Yeah, personally, I prefer the Penn and Teller style of telling things, especially documentaries. I really appreciate their sense of humor and the way they go down the middle. They give you their opinion, but they evenly do it on both sides.
Go check out the series.
But this was not designed to be that way.
So Bullshit is what the show that they have that is really well done for that. And that's the way I appreciate it. But I thought this one, like you said, the facts seem to be really up there. The way they're presented, I think more people should actually watch this one because they're doing very well on facts and the fact checking. But I think that if it's proposed to somebody on the fence, this documentary will lose them. To be honest, so doing it in a class where you're teaching CDCs, they're really gonna grasp what they're getting. But I think that it's all in all, the acting was poorly presented. I think the facts could have been presented a lot better. The facts 5, like you guys have said 2 on everything else, but I give this one a 2 actually.
Wow.
Unfortunately, because I think that it was poorly presented to somebody who would be on the fence. I think they would look at it as rhetoric.
What I think it might serve to do is, since it was so, like in your face, heavy handed on the message, kind of coming from the gun owner perspective, is it might push people towards kind of looking up their own data on it. You know what I mean? Like if anything, it would encourage people to make up their own,
which is good.
Yeah.
Go look at the data. I encourage people out there, go look at the data.
And
it is there.
And I actually have to agree with James. The facts I actually thought were pretty good, from everything that I know without really looking it up. But just the way it was presented, the way the guy was not really looking at the camera, to kind of the cheesiness of it, to even the weird static sets, it's a 2 out of 5. Just because some of the things that really bugged me about it was kind of picking nits at it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would encourage people to actually go and see things like this. This one, if you want to go see it, but if it's somebody who's not really sure about the gun issue, I think it would push them over because it's so, like kind of Ryan said, it's like in your face. They're pushing
but that it's done in that style.
It is done in that style, and that's the way they wanted it.
Yeah.
So next.
Anyway,
sorry.
So
Yeah,
next week we're continuing our theme for movies that are funny or unintentionally funny, and it is James' pick after my bomb of a pick. So James, what did you pick?
Well, I just wanted to go back to a time where potty jokes were rare and innuendos were commonplace. But where if you get offended by a joke or racist comments, there's something wrong with you, not with the joke. And, just to mention, black sheriffs and Yiddish-speaking Indians, let's go to do Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right.
So next week's is Blazing Saddles. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you for watching us for these 100 episodes.
100.
And
100.
And we're going to put you guys on the spot in a moment.
First 50.
I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Do you have any favorite movies that we've watched? Very quick on the spot.
Oh, me?
All of you.
Oh, jeez. I thought you were talking to the audience.
No, the audience and you guys. Because I have my all-time favorite is still Everything's Illuminated.
Yeah, that one's a great one. I wouldn't say it's my all-time favorite. I actually have to go to the site and actually pull it up.
I can't help you on this
one. That's why I kind of...
Yeah, so I'm going to have to actually pull up the actual site and figure out what films we've done. Because I know that I have a favorite, and I think it's like either Dark Knight.
Why don't we give it an answer next week?
Yeah, I'm almost thinking about that. You throw this on me like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
I did it on purpose.
Did it on purpose. I don't know. I'd have to look, too.
And I want to remind everybody here that we do have a Facebook page. So please tell us what you think. Do you hate us? Do you like us? Do you think Ryan, James, or I, or even the old guy suckers, or genre or theme you'd like us to do for next month or the month after? Please let us know.
And believe it or not, we're not Canadians.
Yep.
Do you know what? Explain it, Jonathan.
The latest and greatest hate mail Real Flix Reviews got from somebody that told us we suck, you damn Canadians, because there's plenty, and this was about Troll Hunter, and the guy said there's plenty of other great Norwegian actors or where they're from, and apparently we sound Canadian. So from all the other Canadians, we're sorry if we're poorly representing you.
I feel bad for all my Canadian friends that they thought we were Canadians. But,
sorry, eh?
But I'll tell you what we do need out of you guys is some donations. They never ask. I do. Hit that donation button. We've done 100 shows here, and it would be nice to get a little help. So enough of the self-service plug here, but donate.
Ryan, do you got an answer for John and Singh?
No, like I'm looking it up.
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll
I was going to say probably Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh my
That
God.
one is one of my favorites. Holds up. I think the way they did everything in it was just great.
I need a hat, for the Bob Hopkins,
Yeah, and Bob Hoskins.
So, ladies and
There will
gentlemen,
never be another Shmee.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, like always, we'll see you next week.